The lines from Paradise Lost channel the biblical origin story, starring an alienated father and a disobedient son with a grievance. It's from post-lapsarian Adam's soliloquy, hurled at his creator, who has punished him with a death sentence and ejection from the only home he's ever known. Now Adam speaks. Did I request thee, Maker, from my clay to mold me man? Did I solicit thee from darkness to promote me? To Shelley, a mother several times over, this whine evokes the singer that busted children regard as profoundly original and smartly case-closing. I didn't ask to be born. It's as old as, well, Adam, who will no doubt hear it too. That's a bit of maternal wit. Yet as we read into Frankenstein, each volume in 1818 has this title page. The unsigned plea, marked only Paradise Lost, plays with a difference. It gravitates to the creature, pulsed by a contrast between God's provision for Adam and Frankenstein's neglect of him. A poor avatar of the God of Genesis, harsh as he was, the human creator is all egotism, big on self-pity and shattered pride. This is Victor speaking. The wretch whom with such infinite pains and care I had endeavored to form. I had selected his features as beautiful, beautiful, great God. God appears most often in this novel in such exclamations, this one stopping just short of another father, God win. Failing to create a being whom he could bear, let alone love, Victor Frankenstein recoils from a wretch to be abhorred and aborted. The creature later calls himself an abortion. Adam wakes in Eden. The creature wakes into hell, reviled by his creator, abandoned in the shambles of a lab, left to fend for himself in the German November woods, shunned and abused. That the name Adam means clay is a pun in the epigraph that connects to the subtitle, the Modern Prometheus. The old Titan god stars in a pregenesis story of origin with complicated threads. Prometheus violated divine law by making man from clay. An angry Zeus abused this creature. In pity, Prometheus stole fire from heaven for man's comfort and use. Fire is what materially improves mankind over brute existence. Figuratively, it is civilization, hearth and home, art, learning, science. Zeus condemned Prometheus to a form of eternal crucifixion, chained to a mountaintop where every night an eagle feasts on his heart, which is perpetually regenerated for fresh torments. To further afflict mankind, Zeus orders the creation of Pandora, whose curiosity releases all evils into the world, leaving only hope behind. The post-classical Christian story, channeled through Paradise Lost, sorts Promethean complexities into antagonists. Satan, the transgressor of God's law and evil corrupter of mankind, beginning with Eve, who is weaponized to get Adam. God's only begotten Son, redeemer of mankind through self-sacrificial suffering. Shelley's subtitle for Frankenstein suggests that it was the complexities of the Promethean fable that interested her more than the Christian schema. This transgressive, benevolent God involves a range of identities: creator, redeemer, giver of intellectual life, hero, martyr, transgressor, rebel. Shelley's modifier, modern, the modern Prometheus, evokes recent avatars, especially the Frankenstein syllable-sharing Ben Franklin, often dubbed, first by Immanuel Kant, the modern Prometheus. So Ben Franklin, the modern Prometheus, so called for bringing sublime lightning into man-managed electricity, a scientific revolution, and, like revolutions, a dreadful peril as well as bright promise. You can measure these swings across Benjamin West's godlike Franklin to William Saad's Gothic outdoor library experiment, also depicting Ben Franklin. From modern science to literary affiliations to ancient mythologies, the recessive origins for Frankenstein radiate into questions of genesis. How undergraduate scientist Frankenstein came to think of, dilate upon, and deliver a hideous idea, a Gothic birth. How he tells his story, how his creature becomes an author of his own story and learned his prehistory, and how his creator heard his story. As the novel's meta-literary structuring, tales within tales, and rich elusiveness suggest, it thematizes textual composition itself. And authors abound: the Bible in Milton, Dante and Shakespeare, Godwin and Wollstonecraft, Coleridge and Wordsworth, Charles Lamb and Leigh Hunt, Percy Shelley and Byron, Gothic tales and ghost stories, political tracts, modern science, Darwin and Humphrey Davy, and accounts of recent polar explorations. Shelley's authorial genius draws all of this into a narrative that interplays mythic analogues, character doubles, alter egos, and mirror episodes, outcasts and wanderers, scenes of caregiving and nurture, the dead or near dead warmed back to life, trials and judgments, tales told to beg for sympathy. Polar visionary Walton is embryonic Frankenstein, eager to penetrate the unknown, reckless of danger. He asks his sister to marvel at the story he is recording of Frankenstein. Frankenstein asks him to, quote, listen to my tale, the start of a chain of tale-telling and tale-listening that tracks climactically to the creature's plea to Frankenstein, listen to my tale. This latest tale turns the total story with force of a sea change, with radical disturbance. What makes a monster? Who is monstrous, and by what measure? The sole instance of the word monstrous in the 1818 novel points these questions. The creature is hopeful of acceptance by the de Lacy family, for whom he has secretly performed benevolent service, including the Promethean one of bringing them firewood. The creature, I persuaded myself that when they should become acquainted with my admiration of their virtues, they would compassionate me and overlook my personal deformity. Could they turn from their door, one, however monstrous, who solicited their compassion and friendship? Poignant indeed that monstrous describes no more and no less than physical deformity. That's an ethical pang.